So with all this Stephen Curry talk, is he the best player in the NBA? Is that a stretch to say? Is he like the way he impacts the game? Obviously, you guys are saying he doesn't have much of a team around him. I kind of disagree with that. I think he has a pretty solid team around him. Like
he has a good defensive team.
Like a lot of scoring still.
I'm not saying that he doesn't have a good team around him.
I'm just saying you can't get to the finals if you don't have a good team.
Yeah, I'm saying. I mean, you can if you're like AI or something, and you're in the early 2000s NBA.
The NBA Finals is going back to San Francisco, tied 2-2. We have a friend of the show that lives and works in San Francisco, and he was telling us that in Game 2 he saw the Celtics team bus being escorted by police through downtown San Francisco.
Y'all suck too!
Probably rioters looking for Charles Barkley still. I don't know. But you guys both had the Warriors winning this series in 6. Can the Warriors win 3 straight? They have to win the next 2 for that to happen.
We're going to Game 7, baby. Game 7. Zaza, legendary Warriors player, once said it best. We're going to Game 7.
See, we're going to Game 7, baby. Game 7. Game 7.
If you couldn't understand what I was saying, that was my Zaza and Pachulia
That Zaza accent.
impersonation. Yeah, so sorry that I butchered it. But we're going to Game 7. It's just been a heated series, close games. I mean, the games usually end up less than or more than 10 points in the margin of victory.
But it's competitive the whole way.
It's been competitive. I think it'll kind of be just hotly contested all the way through. The Warriors could end it in 6 still, but I think the Celtics can win one of these next 2 games.
Do you think they'll win in San Francisco or
in
Boston?
I think Game 5 it'll be really, really close, and I think I'm going to give it to the home team on this one, but I think that the Celtics will hold serve at home. And
facing elimination.
Yeah, and we'll take it to Game 7 and see.
I mean, I think that I predicted Warriors in 6, and I'm going to stick with it because I think it's still very realistically possible. The way that the Warriors have looked, Steph Curry looking like he should probably be the Finals MVP whether they win or not.
Are we going to mention this every episode for the rest of my life? At least I had these 2 teams in the finals. Both of you guys didn't even have these teams. Maybe one of the 2 in the
Stephen
finals.
Curry was referred to as my Finals MVP. So, yes, I'm going to stand behind my Finals MVP.
Rolls eyes.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's leading both teams in scoring in every game, which hasn't been done in like 50 years, if he keeps it up. And, I mean, there's a real case to be made that he should be the Finals MVP whether they win or not, which has only ever happened one other time, Jerry West.
Really?
Yeah. But
I think it's pretty much established precedent that wouldn't happen, but
I don't know. I've heard a lot of the media voters and stuff today saying that it could be a real possibility.
I don't know.
It happened. LeBron got 4 votes out of 11 a few years ago.
But the teams aren't that
lost.
mismatched now. Like, if Boston wins, it's like Golden State still has as good of a team as Boston. It's just, I don't know. I think the Stars would definitely, one of the stars of Boston would get it.
The thing that I kind of agree with Riley, honestly, if you look at the scores total of the second closest scorer on Golden State, it's Klay Thompson.
With like
and
15 points a game or something.
Yeah, and
16.
he's like he's put in like less than half the points that Curry's put in this series. And Tatum and Brown are like almost 60 points less than what Curry's put in. It's not all about points, but
yeah, I don't think it's
dominant.
as lopsided as LeBron's teams in the past when he was like, what was his second best player, Kevin Love, in some of those series?
So I was looking at some stats today, and there's been several precedents where the star player has averaged like 35 or so, and then the second player has had 15 or 16, and they've won the series. So that's kind of what we're looking at again with this Golden State team. It's pretty lopsided. It's similar to LeBron's team. It's similar to like Dwayne Wade's team. We have some precedent for like 35 and 15 as the 2 best players on the team.
But him winning the Finals MVP on a losing team, I don't know. That's what. But anyway, do you think it'll go 6 or 7?
I think it'll end in 6.
Okay, still, so you think they will win the next?
I think they'll win the next 2.
Even though Boston hasn't lost 2 in a row all playoffs long.
I think that's changing. Yep.
So with all this Stephen Curry talk, is he the best player in the NBA? Is that a stretch to say? Is he like the way he impacts the game? Obviously, you guys are saying he doesn't have much of a team around him. I kind of disagree with that. I think he has a pretty solid team around him. Like
He has a good defensive team.
Like a lot of scoring still.
I'm not saying that he doesn't have a good team around him.
You
just
can't
saying,
get to the finals if you don't have a good team.
Yeah, I'm saying. I mean, you can if you're like AI or something, and you're in the early 2000s NBA. But I'm not gonna say he doesn't have a good team, but in the finals specifically, he is outperforming the rest of his team by such a significant margin. That's why we're saying that he has a chance to win.
No, but I'm asking: do you think he's the best player in the NBA at this point?
No. Steph Curry gravity is real. Like, you could make any kind of an offense you want out of just people having to guard Curry. But he doesn't check every single box enough for me. He's a good defender. He's like underrated defender at this point. I don't think he's a good defender, but he's underrated. He's not historically poor.
He's not as much of a liability anymore.
Yeah, and I just think that there's other players that do, the defend, rebound, and score and do everything just as well.
Yeah, I don't think he's the best player in the NBA, but I think he has to be in like the conversation for top 3 just because of the huge impact that he has on the court.
Is this the best he's ever played in his career, though, too?
If he keeps it up for the rest of the finals, yes. If he slumps in these last couple of games, then maybe not. But I mean, if he puts the team on his back and wins with 40 points a night,
yeah, it's gonna be a big test on his endurance, his ability to like withstand this defense, and according to you guys, be like the overwhelming best player on his team without much help.
He has help. It's just he's been so good, transcendently good in the finals. I think he might not be at his absolute peak of best he's ever been as a player, but in the playoffs, he's at his playoff peak from what I've ever seen.
Definitely the best he's ever played in a finals.
Yeah, 100%. And I think he was at his actual peak in like the 2015-2016 season when he was like unanimous MVP and was just unstoppable.
The thing is, right now he's playing against the best defense in the league, or supposedly statistically the best defense in the league, and he's playing against the best, probably these are probably the 2 best teams in the league, I'd say. So probably the second best team, and he's doing all this work, definitely putting the team on his back the last couple of games.
I think in 2015 he was probably at his physical peak, and this year he might be at his mental peak. I think his focus and the way that he's controlling the game might be some of the best play that we've seen from him.
It was interesting listening to Steve Kerr talking about his like preparation that he goes through for games and stuff, and how he like brings like a consistency but also like a joy to like his process of constantly getting ready for games. That just made me want a bird's eye view of like a day in the life of Stephen Curry. Like, what does he do exactly in that gym? Like, what are the things that it'd be interesting to see.
You can watch those videos of him shooting left-handed and whatever he does, and all the fans. He shoots from like the tunnel.
His like
stuff.
weightlifting routine though, and like his different like mobility routines. I'm curious to know, because something obviously has changed from the beginning of his career when he'd roll an ankle and he'd be done for the season. Now he rolls an ankle and he's like 5 minutes later back in the game hitting threes and stuff and not missing any time. So
pain meds have just gotten so much better.
I don't know, man. I think it's like I legitimately think it's his routine. I think he's doing something like, I don't know if it's like yoga or like he does the cold plunges and that sort of stuff. It'd be interesting to see.
So really quick, you're our kind of resident Celtics fan here. What's going on with the Celtics? Do they have a chance? What do you?
Yeah, I honestly felt like this entire series, it's been anyone's series. I really haven't really. I would say the Warriors are the favorites. Like I predicted them going into this series, I predicted them winning. But ever since it started, it's felt like really anybody's series. It's like anyone's to take by the horns. It feels very much up in the air still. I mean, it's 2-2.
So what's your prediction?
I still have the Warriors in 7. I'm not going away from my prediction, man. I predicted this like a month ago. Warriors in 7 over the Celtics.
All right.
And I think like the last note I have on here is, will the Celtics defense be able to wear down the Golden State stars like Steph Curry, or will the Golden State offense start to wear down the Celtics? Just their spirit, honestly. That's what I felt like this series has been. about a lot.
I think it may come down to some inexperience on the part of Boston. Like if they can kind of break their spirit in Game 5, and win.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
And kill that momentum of back and forth a little bit, they may not really have much left. And that's why I'm sticking with it in 6, because I think if Golden State wins 5, they're going to go win 6 too.
I could definitely see that happening.
I think it's down to one player's shoulders that decides the series. It's not Andrew Wiggins. It's Jason Tatum. He's been really struggling. He's shooting in the 20s for 2-point range in field goal percentage, and he's shooting like 43% from 3.
Yeah.
He's got to wake up. Draymond hasn't been that impressive on the interior defense.
Draymond hasn't been that impressive, period. Man.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, though. Like, everybody thinks that Draymond's this, crazy presence in the paint. Tatum has not been able to score in the paint. So if Tatum can pick up his scoring in the paint, be more efficient, we'll see what happens. The Celtics have a shot. But if not, I don't think that they have a shot.
What do you guys think? Are the Warriors going to be able to close this out in 6? Is it going to go to 7? Are the Celtics going to be able to close it out in 6? I don't think anyone of us have that. But let us know down below in the comments.
Game 7. We're going to Game 7.
Like, comment, subscribe.